everybody, all my AVJers. The voice you are hearing is Gail Boyd. I am behind the screen. I am so happy to have Kelly Peterson on today. Kelly and I have known each other now, I believe, more than 10 years, I think. I'm just so excited to have her on. I'm going to be asking her some questions because, like me, Kelly is a little bit shy and she wanted me to help sort of steer the conversation along. And I'm so happy to be able to do that. Kelly, hello, and thank you and welcome to Alternative Venues for Jazz.
Hi, and thank you for inviting me. I'm excited to be here. I also really appreciate you being part of the conversation.
I'm happy to do it. So I want to first ask you about yourself. Um, some of the questions that I give to people when they come on are questions like, what's the first jazz music that you ever heard? What's the first jazz record that you bought with your own money? Tell me a little bit about Kelly Peterson first.
Well, I grew up in New Jersey, in central New Jersey, and actually from the time I was 5 years old, had decided that I was going to be a Broadway actress.
Mhm.
However, jazz was played in the house. Some of my earliest memories are of I can picture the Oscar's Blues Etude album being put on the stereo, and also his With Respect to Nat album.
Mm.
And one of my memories that my brother denies all the time, but it's true, is when he would come home after a date with his girlfriend, he'd walk past my bedroom to get into the house. And in the summertime with my window open, I could hear him singing Walking My Baby Back Home. And he learned it not actually from one of Nat's albums, but from Oscar's. So
Wow. So in other words, you knew about Oscar Peterson long before you met him.
Yes. And I had seen him in concert twice
Oh,
before I met him.
okay.
Um,
When was the first time, as you recall?
the first time was 1976 in Rochester, New York, which is where my family had moved after I graduated from high school.
Mhm.
And my mother and my brother and I went to hear Oscar with Joe Pass doing a duo concert.
Oh, nice.
And it was incredible. It was really, really a magical night. And then I had graduated from college and moved to New York City to pursue that career as a Broadway actress.
Mhm.
And living in Manhattan and taking acting classes and dance classes and working, I really wanted to go to jazz concerts during the jazz festival. The Newport Festival was in New York City
Mhm.
at that time.
Mhm.
And I could really only afford to go to one concert,
And
which one I went to.
oh, that's great.
So
When did you first meet Oscar?
I met Oscar in 1981.
And how did you meet?
I had moved to Sarasota, Florida, hoping to work in a regional theater that's one of the best in the country there in Sarasota.
Mhm.
And while I was waiting for them to have auditions, I started working in a restaurant, waiting tables. And in the summertime, they offered me a job as a manager because, in Florida, the busy time of the year is only in the winter when all the tourists are there. And
Mhm.
so I said, okay, I'll give that a try for a while. Well, then it was busy winter season again, and Oscar was coming to Sarasota to play a concert.
Mhm.
But because I was a new manager, I couldn't take that Saturday night off of work. And I was very disappointed and upset about that. However, what I learned is Oscar never ate dinner before a concert.
Mhm.
So he needed to have some place for dinner after the concert. And we were the only restaurant that stayed open late and served food till 1 o'clock in the morning. We also happened to be a fish restaurant. And So the story goes that Oscar told me later was his son, Oscar Jr., was his road manager at the time.
Mhm.
And OJ checked and said, well, this French restaurant, they'll stay open for you. Or there's a fish restaurant that's open till 1 o'clock. And Oscar said, in Florida, a French restaurant? No, I'll take
I'll
fish.
take the fish.
so, so he came to the restaurant, and that's how we met.
Oh, that's great. And so did you tell him then that you had gone to a couple of his concerts before?
Oh, yes, I did. I was, pretty much the fangirl, and told him that I'd been to concerts, and I actually have one of the menus from the restaurant that I asked him to sign for me that night.
Oh, I
Uh,
just saw a documentary about a week ago where you had a lot of Canadian musicians playing and they interviewed you toward the end. It was really quite a good documentary. What's the name of it? And did you
oh,
have anything to do with producing it at all?
no, it's not my film. It's
Okay.
not my film at all. No.
Oh, okay, great. Well, I just saw it and I thought I did see you and I was like, "Hi, Kelly." So when did you get together and you and Oscar become a couple? What year was that?
That was 1986. So in between the time that we met in 1981, um, when he the day after his concert in Sarasota, and he left, and he was on tour and in Europe. He had him actually, before he left the restaurant that night, he invited me to come to New York. He said, if you want to come for the concert in New York again, because I told him I'd been there, he
Mhm.
said, call me, collect, and come and be my guest. Well, I never would have called, because I thought it was a very sweet, charming, kind gesture, but I never would have presumed that it was serious.
Mhm.
However, he started calling the restaurant from the road and talking to me at night, and then during the next 4 months, really, we had many phone conversations. So then he finally said, are you going to come to New York? And I said, well, okay, you know. I mean,
Cute.
I asked a few other questions like, well, what's your intention, and what do you, like
Those
I
are questions normally the father would ask.
exactly. And he said, no, you just seem nice, and I want to get to know you. So I
Oh,
thought that was really sweet. And so,
so I
so
noticed that
then,
Oscar has won several Grammys. I believe is it 9 or 10 Grammys, and you then were with him for the last 4 Grammys that he won. Is that right? Because in
oh,
1990 he won
right, exactly.
Live at the Blue Note. In 1990 he also won the legendary Oscar Peterson Trio Live at the Blue Note. 91 he won the Saturday Night at the Blue Note, and then 97 then he got the Lifetime Achievement Award.
That's right. That's right. And I was with him for those. The only ceremony that we attended was the one for the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Okay. Did you travel with him?
Yes, we traveled from the time I moved here
Mhm.
to live with Oscar, and then when we were married, I traveled with him all the time.
Oh, nice.
Um, the only the only tour I missed was in July of 1991, because I was 8.5 months pregnant when he left.
And so I think that must be Celine.
Yes. So Oscar left on a Thursday night, and Celine arrived 2 weeks early on the Saturday morning.
Oh, and now tell us about Celine. What is she doing now with her career?
Celine is dynamic. She started out primarily doing a lot of social media, and she handles all of Oscar's social media, which
Mhm.
she does with great talent and skill, and um, she's clever. She writes well,
Mhm.
so she does that, and then she started doing social media for other people, and over time, she has now started producing some concerts,
Mhm.
and she also represents a few different artists. So she's doing quite a variety of things. The other thing that she does that I am really in awe of is the Kensington Market Jazz Festival here in Toronto.
Oh. So she produces that festival.
She produces that festival with Molly Johnson.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's great. That's great. I'm proud of her. I know
Yeah.
she's bringing my client John Clayton and Benny Green and Jeff Hamilton to Atlanta next month to do a concert.
Yes, they're doing a concert in tribute to Norman Granz, which I think is marvelous.
That is marvelous. That's great.
So, and she also produced the concerts at Jazz at Lincoln Center that John was participating in at
That's right.
in the as I like to say, in the before times,
In the before times. That's right. Before COVID.
before COVID.
How
Yeah,
have you been coping since COVID?
hanging in there. You
Hmm.
know, it's like everybody. I think it, kind of. It's just a strange time. I find. I find it strange. Um, Strange to kind of how with focus on things
Yeah,
and thinking, well, it's been hard to make plans for anything for 2 years.
yeah, there's no doubt about that.
So
Tell me, when did Oscar pass? 2007?
yes, he passed on December 23rd, 2007.
And what kinds of work are you doing to keep his legacy alive? Not that anybody would have to do it. He was such a legendary pianist. But I know that you've been busy since then to keep his memory alive. What have you been doing?
Well, I've been doing a few different things. Yes, his legacy and his recorded body of work I know will outlive all of us. I've always felt that, and people will be playing his records or his music in some form years and years and years from now.
Hmm.
But I really wanted to. I've made it my mission, kind of, to um, let people know more of Oscar as a composer,
Okay.
and was trying to figure out how to do that some years ago, about 8 years ago, and thought, well, maybe I'll ask other pianists to come to our home and record Oscar's compositions on Oscar's piano.
Mm.
And that was sparked by the piano technician saying the piano's in great shape, but it needs to be played.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get all these people to come and play. So, so we did, and had 16 pianists and Dave Young come to Mississauga to record during the course of about a year, record Oscar's compositions on Oscar's piano. And
Nice.
that was released at first independently as a recording called Oscar with Love.
Mhm.
And we launched with a concert at Kerner Hall in Toronto in December of 2015. I've
Nice.
since licensed that recording to Mac Avenue Records and have a wonderful partnership with them now. And we just this past November released an archival recording of Oscar's with the quartet from Helsinki in 1987
Oh,
called Time for Love. And it's Oscar with Joe Pass, Dave Young, and Martin Drew. And boy, listening to that brought back all the memories
oh.
in a
It's called
different way
Time
of
for
yeah,
Love. Time for Love.
a time for love.
Wait, Time for Love. Oh, okay. And it's on Mac Avenue.
Yeah, well, it's on Two Lions Records, which is my label, and Mac Avenue.
Okay. You can still buy the one that you put out on Two Lines as well as Mac Avenue?
Absolutely, yes. Time or Oscar with Love, yes. There's a link on Oscar's website, oscarpeterson.com. There's a link to the Oscar Peterson store.
I'm going to put that right now on, and there's a link to the store once you go there.
Right.
Okay, beautiful. Well,
So,
that's
and then we have the Oscar Peterson International Jazz Festival, which this year is celebrating its 5th year. And it'll be in partnership with the Royal Conservatory of Music in Toronto next month.
so tell me who's going to be at the festival this year?
So this year we have the Mood Swing reunion with Joshua Redman, Brad Meldau, Christian McBride, and Brian Blade.
Couldn't get anybody good, huh?
Well, we had a pretty heavy duty roster to keep up with from 2 years ago when we did the world premiere of Oscar's Africa Suite.
Oh,
Your client, John Clayton, arranged and conducted.
I know. I cannot wait. Is that going to be released at some point, maybe?
It's definitely going to be released at some point.
Uh-huh.
We have mixed it, and I actually today just got the master from the engineer, but I don't know when we're going to put that out
Oh,
because I want to be able to produce more concerts to go along with it and have
mhm.
John conduct more concerts.
Okay, that's wonderful. Well, I look forward to that. I want to invite anybody who's listening now, if you have any questions or comments that you want to give to Kelly, please write it in your comments and Kelly will see them and we can answer them while I am stumbling through this interview. Um, so just let us know if you have any. I don't see any yet, but I'll be happy to post them if you write them in the comments. Um, so,
So the other part of our festival this year on Saturday night we have Yun Sun Na and her trio and Makoto Ozone and his trio,
mm,
and special guest Ulf Vakinius is coming from Sweden.
oh, that's really nice. So the festival is over the course of 2 days.
2 days, and we also present the Canadian Jazz Master Awards, which Rini Rosnes and I had talked about and wanted to create, sort of modeled like the NEA Jazz Masters, except we don't have government funding.
Okay. That's unusual for Canada not to have government funding. They
But
fund the artists.
we do assemble a panel every year of 15 jazz musician experts across the country who
Mm.
make all the nominations and who decide who should receive the awards. And we present one to a living jazz master, and we present one posthumously. And this year, Pat LaBarbera is receiving the Canadian Jazz Master Award, and Paul Bley is receiving the posthumous award.
Oh, that's beautiful. I know that also a statue of Oscar was unveiled at the National Arts Center in Ottawa. When was that?
That was in 2010.
Oh, that's beautiful. And he received also some sort of award from NC.
Oscar, there were a few. Oscar was made a Companion of the Order of Canada in 1984.
Mhm.
The Order of Canada is the highest civilian honor that you can
Oh,
get in Canada, and there are three levels. He was made an officer first in
mhm.
1972, and then he was promoted to Companion, which is the highest level. And but also, then I think you may also be thinking of the Governor General's Performing Arts Award.
I think that's the one I was thinking of. Yes.
Yeah,
When did he receive
which
that?
modeled after the Kennedy Center honors. Um,
That's what I was thinking of. Yes.
yeah, yeah, and he
Oh,
received that in 1992.
okay. That's the one I was thinking of. He wrote a song during the civil rights era. Can you talk a little bit about how that came to be and the meaning that that song had for him throughout his life?
Oh, thank you for asking about that. He wrote Hymn to Freedom in 1962. So this year is the 60th anniversary of that composition. And he
Mhm.
actually wrote it just on the spur of the moment and at the urging of Norman Granz in the recording studio when they were recording the Night Train album.
Mhm.
Um, and then a year later, Norman asked a woman named Harriet Hamilton to write lyrics for it. And Harriet wrote the lyrics, which people now know. And when that was done, then the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. adopted the song as kind of an unofficial anthem of the
Mm.
civil rights movement.
That's so beautiful.
And so it was very so actually I grew up knowing the song, and in one of the times that I saw Oscar early in our relationship, he played it in concert, and I said, "Oh, you played that song from Martin Luther King." And yeah, I wrote it. I said, "Oh, get out of here."
Oh, you didn't know he had written it.
So, yeah, well, I was kind of embarrassed, but um,
Kind of embarrassed.
but now it has become truly an anthem globally, and
Yes.
children's choirs sing that song all the time. And Oscar was blown away when he realized that, which he didn't actually know until 2002, when he was performing a concert, a big gala concert here in Toronto. And the woman who was conducting the children's choir that was part of it said, "We have to close with Hymn to Freedom. We
Wow.
have to finish the concert with that." So, and most recently, the French National Orchestra had it arranged and performed it during a concert for Ukraine.
Oh, beautiful.
And that it really stunned me because
Oh,
it made me realize that yes, Oscar's position as a composer
mhm.
is being recognized,
That's
and the importance of that song. So we are planning a couple of special events this year. I can't talk about them quite yet because they're still in the planning stages, but I think it's important to recognize the anniversary of that piece of music and how significant it has become.
and
Um,
and it's really also a little bit sad that 60 years later, we still need that anthem. I thought
yeah,
about that when you said the 60th anniversary.
I keep thinking that all the time
Imagine
about I long for the day when it's not necessary.
when we don't need that song. Yeah,
No.
that's so true.
So, but I will tell you one of another very proud moment um, for us regarding Hymn to Freedom was it was performed by the San Francisco Boys and Girls Choirs on the steps of the Capitol at Barack Obama's first inauguration.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that little piece of history. That's great, good news.
Yeah.
Um, so we have a comment from Karen Kennedy, who's a manager. Um,
Hello, Karen.
you
Hi,
know,
Karen.
yeah, so she's, and she's saying, what are you most excited about for the next 18 months?
Oh, wow. Um, I'm excited about I'm excited about special projects to celebrate Hymn to Freedom.
Mhm,
I am excited about the Jazz Festival next month, and I'm excited about whatever recording we're working on another recording release, an archival one for later this year. So
mhm.
I'm excited about that, and a lot. I'm excited that hopefully within the next 18 months, I will be able to present some other concerts and of Oscar's music with some of the great pianists who have recorded on Oscar with Love and see more people playing, get to go hear live music and more regularly again and be with people.
I know. I'm excited to hear live music too. So Lynn Houston said, "Yay, San Francisco." So that must have been in response to the choir singing for Obama's inauguration.
Oh, right, right. Well,
Yeah,
and yay, San Francisco. It is one of my favorite places.
I do like it too. So thank you for that. Oh, and then Lynn Houston also says live music is everything, and I agree. There's nothing like it. So right now, who are you listening to in your spare time when you're not keeping alive the legacy of Oscar Peterson? What other musicians are you listening to?
Well, I'm listening to Stuart Goodyear, who's a classical pianist from
Mhm.
here, who I really love, and um, he's he's just brilliant. He's quite remarkable, and
Nice.
I'm listening to Jeff Hamilton's recordings and the Clayton Hamilton Jazz Orchestra.
Mhm, mhm,
I listen to Rini Rosnes and to Bill Charlap,
mhm.
Marion McPartland.
Got a kind of theme going there. A lot of piano.
Yes, yes. Well, and also I've started, and I love listening to Justin Coughlin, some of the younger artists, and Gerald Clayton, and, with his new, just Gerald always has interesting music and exciting music, and so I love listening to Gerald play too. But yeah, you're right. It's a lot of piano.
I can't wait to hear Gerald's new album on Blue Note that's just coming out. I believe he's got a lot of good stuff on there, and I agree. I love Renee, and she works with you with the festival, right? In some
Yes.
capacity.
Yes, she's the artistic director.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. When are you coming down to the United States? Anytime
Well,
soon?
I'm not sure, but I hope soon, maybe by the sometime in June.
Mhm.
May Yeah, the travel is changing now, so it's looking like it might be, possible.
Well, I sure look forward to seeing you. I wanted to ask you a couple of last things about, and once again, if anybody has any questions or wants to say hello, we've only got about 3 minutes left. So please feel free to chime in. Um, did Oscar ever record any classical music? I know he learned from his sister to play classical. Did he ever record any? Do you know of?
No, he not well, certainly not commercially. But
Mhm.
actually, he started learning from his sister. Then eventually he had, um, other teachers, and his last piano teacher was a man named Paul DeMarchi, who had been a student of a student of Liszt, or it's kind
Ah,
of a
Franz
descending
Liszt.
line, or that
Wow.
goes through to Franz Liszt from Paul DeMarchi. And Oscar was those were very serious classical
Mhm.
music lessons.
Oh, great. Okay, I didn't realize. I did read someplace that he learned from his sister, but I didn't know he had continued it on, in fact.
Yes, and he had a few different teachers. One of them left in tears one time because, um, Oscar knew more than the teacher. It was he just said, "I can't do it." And then he had another really good teacher who said, "I've taken him as far as I can." He said to Oscar's parents, "I've taken him as far as I can. You need him to study with Paul DeMarchi."
Wow.
And so it was, and Oscar just adored Mr. DeMarchi. There was a time that Mr. DeMarchi came to one of Oscar's concerts, and Oscar told me how nervous he was that his piano teacher was there.
Oh, wow, that's fun.
So
That's Let me ask you one last time for the name of the album that's on Mac Avenue. When is it being released, or is it out now?
it's out now. It's called A Time for Love, the Oscar Peterson Quartet, live in Helsinki, 1987.
Okay, I'm just going to put that out for a second so people can run out and buy 5 million copies. And is that gonna be available on all platforms as well? Will it be streaming as well, or is it
Oh, it
just
is.
it
It
is?
is available on all platforms. It was initially released as a Record Store Day Black Friday exclusive at the end of last November, and
Mhm.
so it's available as a double LP, and it's available as no, excuse me, it's a triple LP
Okay.
and a double CD.
Oh, that's beautiful. So we have vinyl, we have a CD, and we have streaming. It's all and digital.
Right.
You're in the 21st century. I'm gonna just show this picture that I love so much
Yeah.
of the two of you, and I really wanna thank you so much for coming on. This was great. I hope you had fun. Thank you for adding your voice to alternative venues for jazz.
Thank you, Gail. Thank you for making it easy for me. And I did have fun, and I just have to applaud you for all the work that you do, and especially with this endeavor, which has been quite remarkable. And
Thank you.
thank you for what you do
Well,
and
I'm having
keeping
fun.
the light going.
I'm having a lot of fun doing it, so I really appreciate you, and I will see you another time.
Definitely.
All
Thank
right,
you.
bye-bye.
Bye.